Let me check volume. How's everybody doing? And let's get on with tonight's study. So August 3rd really bubbles up that birth certificate. Remember how the birth certificate, the birther, that Trump made a big deal about Obama, birther, birth certificate? Well, if we're correct that the event is August 3rd, the day I totaled my car in 1978, um, you're looking at the event taking place the day before Obama's birthday and the rising being the day after his birthday. Remember, the rising is just a ritual. It's not anything anybody will see or notice. It will probably be the trigger day for World War III, though. But it will be when Satan literally possesses his body, and that's not the body that takes the right eye wound. So, yeah. And in fitting fashion, if it ends up being correct, today's Daniel study on page 4, my dad's old King James, happens to be Daniel 838. And we always have Daniel 838. If you go back and look at all of our Daniel studies, I'm not making this up. Always we have the Daniel 838, just as an example. You go to my channel, you should always go to the playlist and start them from the beginning. So let's go to the previous Daniel study. Let's go to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel, the 16th study, and we will go to Daniel 8. Three, 8. If I can get my bearings. There it is right there. So we did 2 Corinthians 4, 4 through 14. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, 4 through 13. Let me take a look at something here. Many numbers, my eyes are playing tricks on me. The Daniel 838, I was looking at Daniel 3. Yeah, anyway, it was the Luke chapter 1, 8 through 15 study on a Thursday. So there it is right there. And so it
How's it
was
going, everybody? Let me check volume. I don't know.
it was 3 months ago on April 10th. And to August 3rd, it's 108 days to today. But to August, so literally it's next Sunday is the event, if I'm dialed into this, which there's no reason why we should think I am because never have been before, unless the Holy Spirit just gave it to me, which we've said many times. But hopeful that one day we would know in advance. Um, if you notice the rising day of 8-5 from that 838 lesson back on April 10th, it fits the rising Bible verse on the spiritual rising day. Remember, The Dark Knight Rises came out 2 days after The Dark Knight, 4 years apart, but we see what they did there. He rose on the third day, July 18th to July 20th, release dates. There's your 11-7, 117 days. And again, 108 days from the last time we did the study. So it takes basically 108 days for me to go through Daniel and go through Revelation. And yeah, yeah. I don't need to add any more to that. Like scrolling for it, it just leads to me confusing myself. Let's just stick with that. All right, so Daniel 8. And if you don't believe this is exactly how the column fits, just ask. I'd love to do a quick video for you because I've done it with my cell phone before. And I'll tell you what else is interesting. We should look at the pages. It's on page 311 in my dad's old King James. I remember it was 1386. Yeah, it's 75 pages apart. That's all it is. It's page 1386. Remember, 138 is his name in simple gematria. 86 means to eliminate. 75. It's only 75 pages apart. Okay. Anyway, that's just trivia. Let's get on with Daniel 838. Then Daniel's saying, then I lifted up mine eyes. Remember, this is the King's English of the 1800s. And behold, there stood before the river a ram which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. And I was considering, behold, the goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. That's where your I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which had seen standing. Think about, I'll just go ahead and share it. Just think about that unicorn. It's a white horse with a horn between the eyes. So it's fusing the rider of the white horse or the Antichrist with the horn, which is the Antichrist in the book of Daniel. And Jesus said the Antichrist would be here in his own name, and a trump is a horn, and a horn is a trump. Trumpet, horn, trump, trumpet, horn, trump, trumpet, horn. Anyway, and he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. There was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, and when he was very strong, the great horn was broken off, and from it came four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. All right, let's move over to Luke. And there followed him great company of people and of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Jesus, turning to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, don't weep for me, weep for yourselves and for your children. In other words, the Jewish bloodline. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Talking about God's wrath. For if they do these things in green tree, what shall be done in the dry? I think that's basically a metaphor for what's done in the darkness shall be made light. And there were also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him with the malefactors, and one on the right hand and one on the left. And Jesus said to the Father, Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. And the people stood beholding the rulers with them, deriding him, saying, He saved others. Let him save himself, if he actually be the Christ, the chosen of God. And the soldiers also mocked him, and coming to him and offering him vinegar, comma, but end of verse 36. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.